You're listening to Workplace Perspective, an employment law podcast presented by Sapphire Legal. Workplace Perspective is a regular podcast series for employers and employees focusing on education, training, and the law to help organizations of all sizes develop and maintain successful workplace relationships. The opinions expressed by guests on Workplace Perspective do not necessarily reflect those of Sapphire Legal or its attorneys and should not be considered legal advice. And now, here's your host, founder and principal attorney at Sapphire Legal, Teresa McQueen.
Thank you, James, and welcome everyone to Workplace Perspective, where we are striving to raise the bar at workplaces everywhere. Today, we're talking with the founder and CEO of Pro Food Systems, Inc., Shawn Burcham, about the challenges in creating and operating a 100% employee-owned business. Shawn is an entrepreneur who believes that empowering employees to think and act like owners is a recipe for success, and I am super excited to hear his thoughts on empowering employees. It's going to be a great show. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The opinions expressed by guests on Workplace Perspective do not necessarily reflect those of Sapphire Legal or its attorneys and should not be considered legal advice. You're listening to Workplace Perspective, an employment law podcast presented by Sapphire Legal.
Welcome back to our listeners, and welcome to Workplace Perspective, Shawn Burcham.
Hi, glad to be here, Teresa.
We're really happy to have you here. So before we get started, why don't we do what we normally do, and that's to have you tell our listeners a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. Well, like you said, my name's Shawn Burcham, born and raised here in Missouri. Really started a business out of the garage. Everything has to start somewhere, right? So
Exactly.
We started in the garage, and I love stories like that when I hear them, and ultimately that's